technologies can make packaging talk to consumers. And we can do that before consumption on the shelf. We can do that during consumption. Maria hinted at an example. And with that specific technology that I just talked about, we can do that post-consumption. That means we reveal another message when obviously the container is not cold anymore because the beverage is consumed. So another time something talks to the consumers after they have enjoyed the beverage to give them that hint about make sure you put this can into the right bin.
All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. We've got CTI Technologies and crazy ink company that's doing some amazing things. And this morning we have Maria and we have Danielle. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, I want to jump right in. One, if you've ever seen the Coors can that has the color changing technology, this is you.
Actually, it is us. That's probably the best known application of our technologies. On the other hand, our technologies can do much more than that. So we appreciate the opportunity talking about the Blue Mountain, but also what other brands Blue Mountains might be and how we can help them to engage their consumers.
Perfect. So can you give me just a quick rundown on who CTI is and what do you do?
Yeah, happy to do that. CTI is a Colorado Springs-based privately held company. Is in business for 30 years already. Again, the best known application of our technologies is Coors Light and turning the mountain blue when the beer is cold. But beyond that, we're doing R&D in Colorado Springs. We manufacture the technologies and we ship our global customer base from there, serving CPG beverage applications, CPG food applications, but also have developed applications of our Chromatic Technologies for other fields in baby care, pet care, commercial roofing, believe it or not. So many other different fields.
All right, so the Blue Mountain is what everybody has seen. We've seen it on commercials. We've seen it in the shelf. Did applying this technology to Coors, did that raise the increased sales?
Absolutely. So our technology is on their cans and labels already for over 15 years, and it helped to really boost sales. They developed from a number 6 brand at that time to become the number 2 brand in that respective segment. And by doing that, it even turned into a very iconic brand. There are country songs about it, there are videos about it, and so on. So, but yes, it definitely helped them to boost sales for Coors Light, which is one of the core brands of the Molson Coors beverage company. And by the way, it created an iconic brand recognition. Maybe Maria, you can add a little bit more with the background that you have on that one.
Yes, consumers really liked and now expect, that the mountain turning blue. And they associate that to cold. And that is the best that can happen to a brand because it became part of the DNA of that brand. And the brand is doing extremely well, emphasizing its refreshment and also its light character. So we're very happy, with being part of that success.
So today, this technology is still on the can, and really it's become so ingrained with the brand that if this was not on the can, I think the consumer would be let down that they don't have that experience, right? There's that expectation.
Exactly. It became part of the brand. Right? It's not a feature anymore. There is no newness to it, but it continues to cause impact and now familiarity because consumers are expecting that, to see that on Coors Light.
Oh, that's so cool. So can we just take a quick second on you, Maria? How did you get to doing what you're doing today?
Sure. Well, my history is in CPG, consumer products, and when I started my career in marketing, it was in P&G, and as you know, it's a marketing school.
Yes.
And after moving to another country with the company, I joined the Coca-Cola company, and I spent also many, many years in the Coca-Cola company in different countries. So I learned all the marketing from the very foundation to what Coca-Cola does, which is more lifestyle brands and, fascinating magic. I also had a little bit of a short stint in Kimberly-Clark and then Molson Coors. I was part of the Molson Coors company as well. And after also going to 2 startups, I met Daniel as part of our love for music. I'm also a musician when I have time. And we both love orchestral music and we're joining this board. So at that time, we started talking and we thought, well, what an interesting combination. I could do something for CTI, given my knowledge of how brand owners make their decisions and how do we make our ink to really be more strategic and build on the insights. Yeah. What does the brand want to communicate, etc. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity and synergy with what I know.
Wow. Okay. And then, so going back to P&G, it's like the most amazing marketing school for anybody. What brands were you working on?
Oh my God. I worked many years in diapers.
Okay.
Yeah, but then hair care too. And at one point in time, I managed the whole portfolio, including laundry and hair care, even Pringles, when Pringles was part of the company at that time. Yeah, so very, very good school for marketing.
Amazing. I just had Doug Hall on the podcast, and he came from P&G, managed a few different brands, and just went through like the things that you learn there that you carry through your career. So let's say one thing that you learned at P&G that you still use today. All right, let's take a quick second to talk about idpdirect.com. Go right to that website, download the design guides, the sustainability guides, the recyclable icon guide, which basically lists out all the different icons. It gives them to you in vectors. You can drop them right into your artwork right now, today, and go right into production. All right, back to the pod.
Very good question, because I learned so much. For example, they use a one-page memo, and I always was used to a one-page memo, which really forces you to choose how to communicate complex ideas in a simple way. And that they were a school on that. It was a very good thing, because later in my career, I know people that they think in PowerPoint. And I can't think in PowerPoint. I have to think first about the ideas, and then I can put them in a PowerPoint or something like that. But it's a very good training.
And Daniel, how'd you get to being in the position that you're at today?
Well, actually, I got a call at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020 from a recruiter that there is this small business in Colorado Springs who is looking for someone to scale the business globally, and this to be a very entrepreneurial opportunity. And I would call myself a packaging guy. You know, I've been in flexible protective packaging, working for a German-based company for over 20 years, and I was their president for North America. I worked in healthcare packaging for Bemis and McCorps. So first of all, I love packaging, and then I think because of that background, I got that call from the recruiter, got introduced to the founder and the owner, Lyle Small, who founded CTI many years ago, who has developed an application like Coors Light, but who did not manage to scale the business very much beyond. And he was looking for someone to do that. And long story short, through various conversations, a field trip in the middle of the pandemic with my family to Colorado Springs, driving from Cincinnati out west, we came to terms, and he offered me to join as a shareholder and chief commercial officer with the intention to become the CEO, which is what happened on January 1. And I mean, I've spent the last 3.5 years to get data points about, is the business scalable? And long story short, it is, not only in beverage and food, but in many other fields. And I think I explored also what it takes to scale it and how we need to do that. Which also brings me to Maria, which is why I'm thrilled that Maria chose to join our company, because having the perspective of a CPG brand owner as part of our commercial team, together with the folks in sales and marketing that we've hired over the last years, is an incredible enhancement of adding value to many brand owners in other applications. So that's, in a nutshell, the reason why I joined. It's a very entrepreneurial journey. We had to turn the place upside down, really transition it completely on how we go to market, to look at our customers in different views and how we add value there and enhance our skill set.
And then we have you with the technology mindset, the application, how to use this tech. And then we have Maria with the idea of where this can fit and how to push it. Like, you're the idea machine, Maria, and Daniel, you're the I'm going to make it happen guy. It's like the perfect combination. Knowing what this does as a consumer is that it changes color in different temperatures. What's an application that nobody's thinking about? What's something, we see it on the can. Sometimes we're just limited by our own imagination. It's like, I don't know how this works. I don't know if it's only on aluminum. What's the craziest application you would love to see this used in?
So CTI stands for Chromatic Technologies Incorporated. The color change based on temperature is what's called thermochromic. But beyond temperature triggered technologies, we have also technologies that got triggered by sunlight. So if you go from the indoors to the outdoors, the sunlight will activate it. We have technologies like glow in the dark, which has recently been commercialized, for example, by Prime with their Glowberry product, which made a lot of buzz in the beverage industry. We have other technologies that get triggered by different circumstances. So that's what kind of Chromatic Technologies represents. You can look at it as a phase-changing, microencapsulated specialty chemistry that is changing color based on different circumstances. So that's the technology piece. To your point, we talked about cans. They're printable on cans. They're printable on labels, on film, on paper. So think of any packaging substrate that exists out there that technology can be applied on. That's high level, maybe short facts, and then the application of Coors Light we already talked about. We commercialized with Coca-Cola and Fanta in Latin America last year. General Mills on their frozen yogurt product. Prime launched Glowberry in August, and they just right now launched a product called Cherry Freeze using our thermochromic technology.
Do you own this technology? Nobody else can use it but CTI.
Yes, it's proprietary.
Amazing.
So we have research and development here in Colorado Springs. We develop it, we produce it, and then we ship it to printers. That means the companies who print the cans, the companies who print the labels, as a specialty ink. So again, they look at us as a specialty ink, which is right. On the other hand, we look at ink only as the vehicle or the delivery system for our specific technology to make it printable on packaging substrate. But yes, it's proprietary to CTI.
Wow, okay. And then, so you can print it on aluminum, you can print it on paper. I think my favorite ever example of color changing is a magazine called Visionaire. They did their issue 56. Was that you?
There's a high likelihood it did us. So we have customers for applications here. Yearbooks is a very popular application every year. So yes, there's a high likelihood it will be us.
Oh, amazing. It was a magazine that was completely white, and then they took it outside, and all the images came to life with color, and I mean, that was the coolest thing.
Yes, so that's a photochromic application. When you go to the outdoors, the sunlight will activate that. So it's a very unique proprietary technology to CTI.
Oh, awesome. Okay, and then we've got this ink that you own the technology behind. Brand owners are out there like, well, I don't have a can. So where else can they use this? What would be the coolest application?
Again, it's any substrate. So it could be any consumer product that has, some sort of package, primary package or secondary package. But what I was going to say is that if you look at our technologies, imagine a permutation of those technologies too, because we do like revealing messages, something that change color and reveals something to you and it's saying something to you, and that is very powerful. If you are a brand, you want that package to talk to the consumers, to say something, to interact in the point of sale or when the consumer is consuming or using the product. You also can do it for QR code reveal. As you know, QR codes are widely used today, and there are so many things that you can do with QR codes: access to promotions or to sites, giving a lot of opportunities to do that. We also have, for example, in beverages, this is very cool, color changes as the consumer is consuming the beverage. There is something that is going to appear only if you consume. Okay, that is a very powerful way of, giving something to the consumer, but also incentivizing the consumption, right? Which is key. We can be so creative. So we do limited edition packages. We can also do emphasize attributes or help a brand differentiate on the point of sale. That is extremely important today because of the competitiveness. And some of the brands that are using our technology, they really appreciate that interactivity. It works, right? And they want to repeat it. They want to go back and do it if this limited edition packaging. So what we need is to make sure we get to be known much more, and that's what we are trying to do as well.
Okay, so then what are the limitations, right? If obviously Coors has the blue, can that have been green? Can that have been any color? There's no limitations on color?
Yes and no. We start with the yes part. So we can do many different colors. The no part of the answer is we cannot make every color of the rainbow because we're not really in a pigment business, so it's not a color pigment, but we generate the color by, high level, a dye and a developer reacting and then generating that color. So it is a yes and no answer. So look at the rainbow. We can do a lot of that, but not the total rainbow.
Okay. So if we wanted to make a Coca-Cola can red when it's cold, and then when it's on shelf, it's white. And that's possible.
I would say anything is possible. It may require some development. Okay, and also it is important for us to understand if the activation is to be indoors with a color and outdoors with another color, if it is when it's cold, or is it when consumer touches a can and maybe it changes colors completely, because the thermochromic ink also works with higher temperature. So you can actually convert a color to another color with a touch of your hand, right?
Okay.
So it depends on what the objective is, and that's also where I come in. I want to understand what the brand wants, how the brand communicates on the voice, so that when we do something, it's more strategic and is based on an insight and is a solution, for the brand.
Okay.
One specific example I can give you, Vilio, because it has been commercial, and actually it has been Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola came to CTI to say, hey, can you give us the Georgia green, this iconic green color, to the Coca-Cola brand? That was a development project, and CTI has been able to develop that very specific green, and that has been commercialized many years ago, where they printed the unique Coca-Cola bottle shape on a can and made this bottle there look in that iconic green color. So, but it was not standard off the shelf, so we have standard off the shelf colors, and they're very fast and quickly available, and if brands have the requirement to deviate off that standard because of their specific brand color, usually that would trigger a development project. Depending on what the color request specifically is, this is when R&D kicks in and checks if we can meet that specific requirement, and in Coca-Cola's case, that was possible to develop that green that they wanted.
What are some limitations that I'm not thinking about? Is there a size, a number of colors, or can this just be applied if we're doing offset on paper? Can this just be applied like a normal ink?
I mean, from a printability perspective, the only limitation that we have today is that we cannot do and support digital printing yet, but we can support any other commercially available printing method. I think that's one thing that we understood. Other than that,
so offset, flexographic, silkscreen, like all that works.
Yes, and from a printing productivity perspective, our technologies actually, although they are seen as being a specialty ink, but they print as any conventional ink in terms of productivity. So, I mean, think of the Coors Light can, think of other, they produce thousands of cans per minute. So from a productivity perspective, we can support all those respective needs. We bring the know-how to table to show them how to make it work this way with our technologies, but then the only limitation there is digital printing right now. So but we're working on that to hopefully get that limitation off the table soon.
What's the most difficult application other than digital for this? Like, what should somebody think about if they're going to use this ink in some type of application? Where do they run into a problem?
I would say if you look at the CPG packaging part in beverage and in food, it's kind of, there is none. Because, first of all, our technology can be customized to the very specific needs in terms of color, in terms of temperature, for example. And the whole question is about what are their specific brand needs, and we can customize it, and we act as the innovation partner not only to the brand owners, but also to their packaging converter partners, the printer partners, because ultimately we ship our technology to them physically, and we support them to print it on packaging. So this is proven on cans, on labels, on secondary packaging. So again, other than not being able to support digital printing, there is no restriction. If we talk about other applications, again, I hinted that at the beginning, beyond CPG packaging for food and beverage, for example, our technology has applicability in many other fields. We're working on applications in baby care. Think of a wetness indicator, for example. We're working on applications in commercial roofing. So everyone who happens to be at the roofing convention in Las Vegas from February 6th to 8th, so in about 2 weeks, will be, so I cannot anticipate or release too much, but there is going to be a launch of our technology in commercial roofing. Very different than a Coors Light can, right? So, and there it is not a well-proven commercial printing like in CPG packaging, but our technology is printed or coated in different ways to whatever the substrate is, whether that's a roofing material, or whether that's a film for a diaper, or whether that is a card in cold chain, or whether that is a label for a pharma application where our technology acts as a freeze indicator or a thaw alert, for example.
Yeah, my kids are 11 and 13, so I'm just trying to think back to diapers. So there was a point where there was a diaper that the like the outside of it would change to like a purple if it was wet on the inside. Like
Absolutely. So that's a hydrocropping technology that we have developed. So that means it reacts to wetness.
and it's what did you call it? What is that technology called?
Hydrochromic, so reacting to wetness and changing color there, and cannot disclose details there because it is not commercial yet. But we're working on respective applications there to tell moms and dads or doctors and nurses in the hospital with early born babies if it is time to change the diaper, for example. And that's a visual indicator which again indicates that, and that can be kind of spread all over the diaper.
And then is there, I know with a big focus on sustainability today, this just being ink, does it change any of the properties of the materials that makes it maybe not recyclable or biodegradable? Is there a concern there with these inks?
If finding your spec data is a wild goose chase around your office, you've got a data problem. SpecRite is the only cloud-based management specification solution that every brand needs. Because if you don't spec right, you'll spec wrong.
In general, not. If you look into cans, actually, I mean, if they get recycled, there is a lot of heat involved, so actually they burn off like anything else. We're working on other ways, for example, for recycling of labels. Maybe Maria can add a little bit to that because she's right now diving very deep into that. But high level from a sustainability perspective, I mean, obviously we give a lot of focus that our technologies, whether it's on cans, labels, or any other packaging substrate, does not negatively impact their recyclability from a sustainability perspective.
And what we are investing right now is to get recognized by APR, which is Association of Plastic Recycling, specifically for plastics, because as you know, plastic generate a lot of waste. So there is a lot of movement to improve the recyclability of plastic. So what that organization wants is to also incentivize label suppliers and ink suppliers to be recognized with their testing. So we are investing right now on a testing process to get that recognition. Okay, and what recognition is going to state is that our inks do not contaminate the water used for recycling, the recycling stream for PET or for any other plastic. So that is important. I mean, we are being proactive on how do we do that, because that's going to be even more important today to some of the big players out there that are contaminating the most, by the way. But they are doing something. They're investing on their own processes to help on this issue. So we want to make sure that we are part of the solution and not part of the problem.
As a brand owner, the first thing, right, and you know this, is what's the technology? Is it proprietary? Can I find it cheaper? What's my limitation? And how's it going to impact sustainability? Right? How's that consumer going to view that we've added a feature, but now the product is less sustainable? So having that, now you're going through getting certified to show that this isn't an issue on recycling, that it isn't, it doesn't contaminate the waste stream. It's recycles just like anything else. It's easy to apply. So labels, plastic wraps on paper, and you can do temperature, you can do moisture, and you can do UV lights.
Yes.
Is there anything I'm missing?
Glow in the dark is another application. And again, I think the overarching response to your question is for our technologies to not negatively impact recyclability and sustainability. And I would like to even go one step further. You asked before about some creative applications of our technologies. There is one we came up with to really help the sustainability efforts of many brands. So if I use cans, for example, the story of the can industry is a wonderful one because cans are so wonderfully recyclable. However, if you look in the United States at the recycling rates of aluminum cans, in some states they're in the single digits. That means the majority of the cans end up in landfill. And through our sustainability efforts at CTI, we have developed a technology which is a reveal technology, and that one can apply to really even indicate something else post-consumption to consumers, to give them a hint to the recyclable nature of their beverage container, not by policing them, but giving them a gentle activating reminder about, don't forget to put this can into the right bin so that it gets recycled. So we've come up with a technology and very creative ideas how our technologies on beverage containers like can positively impact the recycling behavior of consumers, which will over time hopefully lead to increasing recycling rates.
Sure. So we have the pre-purchase education, right? when it's on shelf, I see what it can do, I buy it, I put it in my fridge, right? Whatever it is, wherever this product goes. And then once I'm done with it, it's pushing me to recycle. So it's that post-consumer education, right? So you're getting both ends of it.
Exactly. And if you look, I'll quote something Maria said earlier, because it's so important. Our technologies can make packaging talk to consumers. Mm-hmm. And we can do that before consumption on the shelf. We can do that during consumption. Maria hinted at an example. And with that specific technology that I just talked about, we can do that post-consumption. That means we reveal another message when obviously the container is not cold anymore because the beverage is consumed. So another time something talks to the consumers after they have enjoyed the beverage to give them that hint about make sure you put this can into the right bin, means into the recycling bin. So our technology is making packaging talk to consumers in those before, during, and post-consumption. And there are so many applications that we can think of, and that's our mission every day. That what makes me getting up in the morning, that we want to make a big contribution beyond what we're doing today with Coors, with lots of other brands to really help them lift their sales, engage consumers differently, and from a sustainability perspective, make an impact to positively influence recycling behavior.
Okay, so when we get to the technology, I tested these cans out. I put some cold water, I put them in the freezer, I put some hot water, and I can see the color changing, and it's super fast. As a designer, can I specify the temperature at which this changes, or it's just a hot, cold?
That's one of the beauties. We can set the temperature that is desired. So I was going to say that that's part of the innovation. We work with the brand teams in creating that solution, because they may have these specific requirements, right? And based on the insights. I always try to go back to what is the insight? How is the user going to interact with a package? Okay, so that we kind of understand, okay, is that for kids that are going to be outside, or people that are taking a shower, or a kid that is washing their hands? There are so many solutions, right? And the neat thing is that we will work with the temperature that is needed for that specific occasion or activity.
Like for the colors, Evelio, we have standard and then we can go off standard. So we have standard formulation of some standard temperature settings. If they fit the need, perfect. If not, we can go back to the lab and our R&D folks can engineer and change the temperature setting. And if I use Coors Light as an example, because that's in market, it's known. In the United States, people love to drink the beer colder than in other countries. So I'm German, you can tell by my accent, we usually don't drink beer that cold like in the US. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just a habit. The temperature setting for Coors Light here in the US is at 8 degrees Celsius. That means at 8 degrees Celsius, the mountain turns blue. In applications for Coors Light in Latin America, for example, it's at 10 degrees Celsius because they don't want to drink it that cold like people in the US. So that's a very tangible, real commercial example of where we deviated or where we differentiated the formulation depending on the specific needs and the taste of the country or the temperature sensitivities.
That's crazy. So if I'm McDonald's or if I am Starbucks, on my paper coffee cups, I can have it change color if it's below 140 or above 140, right? Because McDonald's gets sued for coffee being too hot.
Yeah. There are some ideas in development like that because the hot is also an issue for consumers. They don't want to get burned. There are many ways that we apply with high temperature or with body temperature. I'm talking Celsius, but 29 degrees Celsius or 31 degrees Celsius, is normally what your hand would feel like. Mm-hmm. So we activate with that temperature.
Maria is just referring to an application that you're going to see in the market later this year. We cannot disclose details. High level, imagine a food that needs to be heated. And first of all, we can indicate through a color change when the food has reached the heat to be ready. So that means it doesn't need to be heated any further. It has to cook in that respect. And then, but it's too hot to eat. And there will be another indication coming to say, now it has cooled down enough, so it is kind of safe to eat.
And while you were talking, I typed into ChatGPT. I said, I've got a technology that changes color. What ideas would you use this technology to apply to packaging? And I haven't read this. I'm just going to read this to you now. It says a packaging technology that utilizes thermal responsive inks to communicate the carbon footprint of the product inside. So maybe as the consumer holds the package, the body heat activates the ink, revealing the dynamic color spectrum. Each color represents a different level of carbon footprint from production to disposal. And it says for a luxury brand, it could be a powerful tool to educate consumers on the sustainability. Imagine Louis Vuitton bag, packaging, shifting colors to illustrate the environmental impact of its product, or a Tiffany box that changes based on ethical sourcing of its content. This is really revolving around sustainability. The wild idea, it says, is packaging can interact with external temperature changes too, serving as a visual reminder of climate change. In colder climates or seasons, the packaging might remain the lower impact color spectrum, while hotter conditions, it shifts to colors indicating higher environmental costs. I don't know. These aren't really cool.
Sustainability is on trend. You can do very cool ideas. Okay, as Danny was explaining, educating the consumer on the effect, of recycling is one of them. So yes, it is an important thing to continue thinking about.
I mean, Emilio, you asked before why I joined CTI, and I mean, another analogy I like to use, I moved my family from Cincinnati, Ohio to Colorado Springs, and there's little light pollution out here in the Rockies, so if you look into the night sky here, it's incredible to see the universe and how much you see. And what excited me about CTI is there are so many different opportunities to apply our chromatic technologies. I think we've only scratched the surface so far, even in CPG packaging for food and beverage, which is why with our commercial team that has joined over the last couple of years, with Maria joining, we're looking out into the night sky and to get inspired in terms of what else can our technology be used in CPG packaging to engage consumers before, during, post-consumption, and then thinking of many other applications there. So I don't want to say we're crazy, but we're very open-minded, and we are an R&D-driven company. We like to do things that have never been done before. I think you mentioned some of that just by reading ChatGPT to us. So if anyone has something specific there, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We might be crazy enough to engage into it.
I love it. Real quick, as we kind of start to wrap up, if we want to do maybe just a cost benefit analysis, has there been any detail that you can provide, say, on a typical return on investment when a company switches to some of these innovative inks?
Yes. We'll quickly talk about purchase intent and then obviously the sales lift.
Right. So we've done a lot of concept tests for testing for preference, as also for increasing purchase intent. And it's not hard to believe that purchase intent and preference increases, right, when they see a concept that incorporates a color changing kind of message, right? So besides that, as you know, purchase intent drives sales. Okay, that is we all know that in marketing, so that is a very powerful data for marketeers that we talk to. On top of that, we are also analyzing two specific brands in the last 12 months, 14 months that have used our technology. One of them actually in the SKUs where our technology was used, those SKUs did better than the average brand. So definitely consumers really appreciate that feature. And then in another one that conducted a launch, I mean, it's been a very successful brand for the last 2 years, but one of the launches they did around August, September, used our technology and became the most successful launch so far. And it's the second SKU for this brand. And it's a large brand. So we see the return, and the idea for us is to continue looking at this data to make sure that a marketer knows, okay, this is a good investment for me. There is going to be a return on investment if I do this. A promotion or packaging, whatever it is.
Is there some type of an MOQ? Because you're selling the ink, right? Not the process. So is there a certain amount of ink that you have to purchase? Like, what's the minimum?
We serve large quantities for large applications that are in market. And we've talked about the example like Coors Light, Coca-Cola, Prime, and so on. On the other hand, we have an application of our technology that is coded on a medical device as a sterilization indicator. We deliver them a few grams because there is, I think, 2 milligram of our technology on one device, for example. So that's a very small niche application. So again, an extreme bandwidth of very, very small volumes to large volumes that are thousands of pounds.
Excellent. So if you're a startup out there that's interested in doing some type of a launch that has this type of activation happening, then not to be afraid to reach out to CTI, right?
Absolutely.
That's the fear, is I'm going to call it, I'm going to say you're too small.
Yeah, I mean, I look at ourselves as a grown startup. We want larger business, we want larger volumes, right? We are playing with the big guys in the CPG world, but at the same time, we love startups because usually they are innovative, they're aggressive, they're disruptive, they're not frightened of trying new things, they move fast. I think these are really things that resonate with us well, and if we can help a startup to differentiate their add value to their customers through the application of our technologies, these are things that we would love to engage in all day long.
One question, and then we'll wrap it up here. But I think I was picturing, like, where else could I use this? So is there an ink, let's say, that is outdoors and I can't see, right? And then when I bring it out of the UV light, then I can see it. Or is it only activated by UV?
So the sunlight will activate it if you go from the indoors to the outdoors. So that means the sun. So you just talk about the reverse. The reverse. I mean, unfortunately, they cannot break the rules of physics. They try every day.
And the reason I'm asking, right, is like, what would the application be? Is every brand out there, even the Amazons, are concerned about theft. Right? So when a pack is sitting outside, they just want to look like a brown box. So every brand is like, I want to do a white box, I want to do graphics, I want to put my big logo on it. But when somebody drives by and they see a big box that says Louis Vuitton or a blue box that says Tiffany on it, it's gone. So what if we can make this box that's just brown, and then when I bring it into my house, I get all the wonderful design and marketing that happens.
Hey, the universe out there expands every second. You probably just expand our universe. So I'm not comfortable to answer the question because I don't know, but we'll take it back and we'll throw it at our R&D folks, and we'll give you the answer next time we talk. And thanks for helping to expand our universe, Emilio.
No, I'm always thinking, what's the problem? What's the solution? And, even if it's it turns brown in UV, and then when it comes in, it turns back to the white or something like that.
Requires some thinking. Okay, I like the idea. Because again, you're solving a consumer problem, right? And that's what we want to do. I mean, that's even better, to solve something that the consumer cares about.
Excellent. Excellent. So as we wrap up, is there anything that maybe that you want to share that we didn't get to cover?
I mean, first of all, I enjoy listening to your podcast. Again, I'm a packaging guy, and most of our applications are on CPG packaging, although we find application in other fields as well. But no, we highly appreciate the opportunity to share our story and hopefully to trigger interest. Thanks for challenging us and expanding our universe through the conversation today as well. So really highly appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And Maria, it was amazing to meet you.